Today, I'll expose the 8 most effective strategies women use to drain your money while pretending it's love. I'll break down the female psychology behind each tactic and show you exactly how to spot them before it's too late. These aren't theories. These are documented manipulation patterns that operate in relationships every single day. Before we dive in, hit subscribe and leave a comment if you've ever felt like someone's emotional interest was directly linked to how much you could provide. Your story might help another man recognize these signs earlier and protect himself. Now, let's expose these 8 strategies one by one. Strategy 1. She uses compliments to condition generosity. This first strategy is based on psychological conditioning, similar to how Pavlov trained dogs to associate bells with food. She's training you to associate spending money with receiving affection and validation. The compliments, praise, and expressions of appreciation don't come randomly. They come strategically, right when it's time for you to pay or immediately after you've made a purchase for her. She showers you with compliments about how generous you are, how thoughtful you are, how successful you are, how different you are from other men. But pay close attention to when these compliments arrive. They cluster around financial transactions. She makes you feel special and appreciated just before she mentions something expensive she wants, or right after you've paid for something significant. The psychology at work is reinforcement through flattery. She's conditioning you to equate your acts of financial generosity with receiving emotional rewards. It feels incredibly good to give because she's associated your spending with love, appreciation, and validation. Your brain starts to link opening your wallet with feeling valued in the relationship. Over time, this conditioning becomes so powerful that you actually crave opportunities to spend money on her because you're chasing that emotional high she provides through praise. Here's how this plays out. She says something like, "You're the most thoughtful man I've ever met. I'm so lucky to have you," just before casually mentioning an expensive purchase she'd love to have or an experience she wants. The praise makes you feel wonderful about yourself. You feel like you're doing something genuinely kind and loving. But her interest is tied directly to your wallet, and the compliments are the tool she uses to keep you spending without resistance. What makes this particularly effective is that she withdraws the compliments when you're not spending. If you suggest free activities or express concerns about money, her praise noticeably decreases. The message becomes clear. Your value to her is connected to your financial contribution. Strategy 2. She masks her needs as self-care. This strategy exploits modern wellness culture and the language of mental health to disguise materialistic desires as psychological necessities. She doesn't ask for expensive items by saying she wants them. Instead, she frames every financial request as something necessary for her emotional well-being, her mental health, or her personal growth. She repackages luxury purchases and indulgences as self-care requirements. That expensive spa day isn't about pampering or luxury. It's about her mental health. That designer handbag isn't materialism. It's about empowerment and self-worth. That costly vacation isn't extravagance. It's necessary healing time. By using the language of wellness and emotional health, she transforms greedy requests into what sound like legitimate needs. The psychology behind this is emotional justification. She's framing materialism as an integral part of her emotional and psychological health, which makes you feel like you're supporting her personal growth and well-being rather than just buying her things. The request doesn't seem greedy or shallow anymore. It seems necessary and even noble. You're not indulging her materialism, you're supporting her mental health. Let me show you how this sounds in real conversations. She says, "I really need that spa day. It's been such a rough week. I just need some time to decompress and clear my head. Self-care isn't selfish, it's necessary." You agree completely, because mental health is important. But notice what happened. A luxury indulgence was reframed as a psychological necessity, and you're expected to pay for it. Or she says, I need to invest in myself. That's why I want these new clothes. When I look good, I feel confident, and that's important for my mental health and self-esteem. The underlying agenda is getting you to pay for expensive fashion, but it's disguised as supporting her emotional well-being. You can't argue against her mental health without seeming unsupportive or cruel. Strategy 3. She plants guilt to make you pay. This strategy weaponizes your compassion and your desire to be a good partner. She uses guilt systematically to make you feel like it's your moral failing if you don't provide financial support. Every financial request is framed not as something she wants, but as a need she shouldn't even have to ask for, implying that a good partner would offer without being asked. She presents her financial situations as crises or hardships and positions you as the solution. But here's the manipulation. She makes you feel guilty for her circumstances, even though you're not responsible for them, and she makes you feel like a bad partner if you don't immediately solve her problems with your money. The psychology is emotional coercion. She makes you feel morally obligated to help by presenting her situation as dire or as a sacrifice she's making. She implies that not helping her financially means you don't really care about her, that you're selfish, or that you're not the man she thought you were. Here's exactly how this manifests. She says, I really hate asking for help. I feel so embarrassed, but I don't know how else to get by this month. Notice the structure. She's claiming reluctance to ask, which lowers your defenses, but she's also implying that her financial crisis is somehow your responsibility to solve. She's not actually asking, she's making you feel guilty for not volunteering to be the solution. Or she says, I've been struggling so much, and I thought I could count on you to be there for me. The implication is that financial support equals emotional support, and by not offering money, you're failing her emotionally. This guilt is crushing for most men who want to be good partners. Strategy 4. The surprise request. This strategy is about timing and pressure. She deliberately waits until you're emotionally engaged, relaxed, or happy, then springs a significant financial request on you unexpectedly. The request might be framed as urgent, necessary, or for both of you, but it always comes at a moment when you don't have time to think rationally about it. By catching you off guard during moments when your emotional defenses are down, she creates pressure where you're forced to respond immediately. You don't have time to assess whether the request is reasonable, whether you can afford it, or whether it's even legitimate. The surprise element combined with emotional urgency pushes you to act based on feeling rather than thinking. The psychology behind this is emotional surprise manipulation. When you're relaxed and emotionally open, you're more susceptible to requests. When pressure is applied through urgency or surprise, your rational mind doesn't have time to engage. You respond emotionally and impulsively, which is exactly what she's counting on. Let me give you a specific example. You're enjoying a romantic date night, everything is going well, you're feeling connected and happy. Then suddenly she says, by the way, my car broke down and I need $500 for repairs by tomorrow. The timing is deliberate. You're in a good mood, you don't want to ruin the evening, and the urgency makes you feel like you need to respond immediately. So you agree without really thinking about whether the story makes sense or whether this is your responsibility. The surprise request often comes packaged with urgency phrases like, I just found out today, or this needs to be handled immediately, or I didn't want to worry you earlier, but now I have no choice. The pressure removes your ability to evaluate the situation rationally. Strategy 5. She uses subtle comparison to push you into spending. This strategy attacks your ego and triggers your competitive instincts. She compares you, either directly or indirectly, to other men who provide more financially. She makes comments about her ex-boyfriend, her friends' partners, or men she knows who always treated her well, or took care of things properly. The comparisons are designed to make you feel inadequate, insecure, or like you're failing to meet the standard that other men have set. This competitive emotional pressure makes you more likely to spend money you don't have or can't afford, simply to prove you're better than these other men she's referencing. The psychology is competitive emotional pressure combined with status anxiety. Men naturally don't want to be seen as inferior to other men, especially in providing for a woman they care about. She exploits this by creating comparisons that force you to match or exceed her expectations, even if doing so is beyond your means or unreasonable. Here's how this sounds in practice. She casually mentions, "My friend's boyfriend just bought her a new car for her birthday. She's so lucky to have someone who treats her that well." The implication is obvious. You should be doing the same thing to keep her happy and to measure up to the standard other men are setting. Even though buying someone a car might be completely unrealistic for your financial situation, the comparison creates pressure. Or she might reference her ex. "My ex always made sure I had everything I needed. He understood that taking care of your partner means providing for them. Now you're competing with a ghost, trying to prove you're better than a previous relationship, and the metric for success is how much money you spend." Strategy 6. She makes you feel like she's helping you with your finances. This strategy is particularly insidious because it disguises her financial exploitation as partnership and assistance. She positions herself as someone who's helping you manage your money better, organizing your finances, or teaching you financial responsibility. But in reality, she's creating opportunities to spend your money on herself while making you believe it's all for your benefit or for the good of the relationship. She might offer to help you budget, organize your bills, or plan your expenses. This sounds helpful and partnership-oriented, but pay attention to where the money actually flows. Somehow her help always includes upgrading things for her, buying things she needs, or spending money on things that primarily benefit her, all while claiming it's part of better financial management. The psychology is strategic manipulation disguised as care. She gains access to your finances and financial decision-making while making you believe she's only trying to help you. You don't see it as her benefiting financially from the relationship. You see it as teamwork and partnership. Here's a concrete example. She offers, "I'll help you organize your bills and set up a better budget for you. You're so good at making money, but I can help you manage it better." This sounds genuinely helpful, but then she continues, "And I think it would be great if you could upgrade my phone as part of the budget, since communication is important and you can clearly afford it with better money management." Notice what happened. She offered to help with your finances, positioned herself as beneficial to your financial health, then immediately suggested spending your money on her needs. You believe she's helping when in reality she's manipulating access to your resources. Strategy 7. She makes financial requests feel like special occasions. This strategy transforms regular spending into emotionally significant events. She frames every purchase or financial request around special occasions like birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, or other meaningful moments. This makes you feel like you're celebrating your relationship or honoring her, rather than simply being manipulated into spending money. By attaching emotional significance to purchases, she removes your ability to see them as simple financial transactions. You're not being asked to buy something expensive, you're being asked to demonstrate your love on a meaningful occasion. Refusing becomes not about money, but about whether you value the relationship and the special moment. The psychology is scheduling emotional connection to financial requests. She takes what could be a regular material desire and creates emotional weight around it, transforming it from a want into a symbol of your love and commitment. You're tricked into thinking the purchase is for the relationship or to honor a special moment, when it's really just about getting you to spend money on her material desires. Let me show you how this works. Your anniversary is approaching, and she says, This is such a special anniversary, probably the most meaningful one we've had. I've always dreamed of having this particular item to commemorate moments like this. You think it's a thoughtful, romantic request that honors your relationship, but in reality, it's just a manipulative way to get you to buy her something expensive by attaching relationship significance to it. Or consider birthdays. She doesn't just want a gift, she creates elaborate expectations around what the gift should be, how much it should cost, and what it represents about your feelings for her. If you get something modest or affordable, she's disappointed because this is a special day and I thought you'd want to make it memorable. Every holiday, every milestone, every occasion becomes a financial obligation disguised as celebration. If you recognized multiple strategies in your relationship, you need to take immediate action. These patterns escalate over time and rarely improve without confrontation. More often, they continue until you're financially exhausted or finally recognize the exploitation. Hit like if this opened your eyes to patterns you've experienced. Subscribe for more content on relationship psychology and protecting yourself from financial manipulation. Comment with which strategy hit closest to home or share other manipulation tactics you've encountered. Remember, real love doesn't require manipulation, strategic timing, or psychological tricks. A genuine partner contributes to your life rather than draining it. If your relationship is characterized by these strategies, you're not in love, you're being exploited. You deserve better than being someone's financial resource disguised as their romantic partner. Stay aware, protect yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.